Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So if you saw last week's planner decoration, you'll know that it was a lot of work. So I'm rather looking forward to having a slightly less complicated week this week. So after the, I'm not going to say hell's not the right word, but after the difficulties of last week, I'm rather looking forward to having a much simpler week this week using my gorgeous Planners Anonymous Life's a Party kit. And it's actually come at a really good time because if you're in Australia, you know that the first Tuesday of November is Melbourne Cup Day, which means everyone's kind of on long lunches and there's a bit of a party atmosphere going on. So it's perfectly good timing. So what I'm going to start off with is the really thick washi tape that comes in this. And what I want to do is I want to run it down the edges of the page, but I don't want to waste too much of it. So the idea here is that I'm going to run it down the middle and then cut it in half. So I'm just lining these up as close as I can. I'm aware that they're not quite the same height. And I'm just going to put this down in the middle. Just trying to make sure I've got that in the right spot. Looks good to me anyway. Go. And then we're going to peel this up, cut off the excess, and then cut straight down the middle. So we'll just grab the scissors. We'll cut the excess off first, or at least a little bit of it. I'll cut off the rest of it afterwards when the pages have been separated. And then we're going to grab my trimmer. I swear I can't do anything with these nails. And then I'm just going to line up where the edges are, or where I hope they are. It does kind of feel like I've maybe overlapped these just a little bit, but not enough to have to worry about. Go. And then I'm just going to cut off the excess again. Wrong side. I do like to use the pages as a bit of a guide of how or where to cut it, just because I do find the Kikki.k pages a little bit irregular. They're not always the exact same height or width. That has a lot to do with me because I tend to cut them a little bit when I'm doing them, but that's okay. It just kind of happens and it's not the worst thing in the world. So I'm going to punch my holes now, if I can find where I put my hole punch. Had it here before. There it is. I knew I put it in that jar, I just couldn't find where I'd gone. So I'm just going to punch out the holes. Okay, so just here, and it's going to stick, so it's going to be alright. This bottom hole, I've actually mispunched, I've missed it completely. Thankfully there's enough tape there to hold it in place, so I'm not going to stress out about it or panic about it at this point. If it does start coming out halfway through, I'll deal with it then, but just at the moment she's holding firm, so I'm going to leave it exactly where it is. I love that they match up. I think that just gives it a little bit of an extra oomph. It just looks really cool the way that it matches straight up against each other. So at the top, what I want to do is I absolutely adore this streamer die cut, but because I haven't got one that's going to stretch the whole way along, and what I have got in here is a streamer kind of stamp, I'm going to do this as a stamp that runs all across the top. And that's all fine, but then I decided I wanted to cover up November. So what I'm going to do is make this into a bit of a sticker. So this is just a piece of matte sticker paper. I'm just going to measure out how much I need, roughly. So just put where that needs to sit. This particular piece of sticker paper is a bit, actually I'll use the other bit. This bit's number 1 not as long, but number 2 is actually straight, so that makes a big difference. So I'm just going to over measure just a little bit. So that way when I cut it, I'm actually going to have too much, which is a good thing, because I can actually have a bit of room to make a mistake if I have to, or if I just accidentally do. If you guys have been around long enough, you know I make mistakes a lot. But mistakes are fun. Mistakes are where you get the best things from. Ow. Damn nails. So if I put that on here now, that should be just a little bit too high, yep, and a little bit too long. So love that. The good thing is if I really wanted to, I could come down a little bit further and cover up that week 45, but I don't really need to. So then what I'm going to do is I want this to kind of look like a banner still, but because I'm a little bit nervous about doing it to start with, I'm just going to kind of, at least on this side, I'm just going to draw a little bit of a string, and I'm just doing this really, really lightly because I'm going to rub it out afterwards. So it's just drawing a sort of a stringy kind of shape. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our block and then just in a bunch of different stamp colours. So I've got here some We Are Memory Keepers ones, and then just some extra acid-free ones that I've got in a recent haul. Not a haul, like a D-Stash sale. And then just my purple Aldi ink. And all I'm going to do is just sort of go through the colours one by one and just stamp on here so I get a bunch of different colours. So I'm going to start off, it doesn't really matter where I start. I'm going to start with the red just because I like the red. And you can do this one of two ways. You can either do all the different colours in a, like, not in a row. I'm just going to also grab just a bit of scrap because I deliberately want this to go off the edge so that it looks like it continues on forever. So you, like I said, you need to start off, you can either do all the reds in a row or you can do all the colours in sequential order. Because I don't care so much about when the order comes, I'm just going to do mine sort of randomly and then just sort of fill in the gaps. So I'm just using that pencil mark as sort of a guide of where the top is, and then I'll draw it in sort of darker pen later. But I'm not paying that much attention to it. See, look, I've missed completely there. But anyway. So I'm just doing the red first. And because it's string never has the same shape. So I've done the red. Now you can either do one of two things. You can either wash it off in between, because I'm going straight to this orange. I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm just going to stamp in the next one. And just continue doing that. And they're just going to kind of overlap a little bit. I'm not always going to run the really bright colours next to each other though. So I'm just going to do that one. Some of these work out better than others, but that's okay. So then I'm going to grab some purple and just add some more dark colours in here. Oops. Okay. I'm a bit more slow with it. Seem to get a bit more ink. So I'm just going to continue that along here with all the different colours, and I'll be back in just a sec. Alrighty, so that's what it looks like once it's done. Obviously I need to give that a little bit of time to dry before I can use it. So in the meantime, I'm just going to put all these off to the side. I'm also just going to grab a baby wipe to wipe that. I'm also just going to wipe off all the ink from my fingers because I was kind of using my finger as a baby wipe through some of that. Because I didn't really care so much if the colours bled together, I think it's okay. But if you are going to be a bit more selective, I guess, with your colours, I'd probably suggest not doing that. So Ryan has just reminded me that I haven't done the sticker for the other side, and it's because I haven't quite yet decided I want to. I want to see how this one comes up. So while I'm waiting for that to dry a little bit more, I'm just going to jump back into the box and grab this tartan washi, and I want to put this down the bottom. It's going to go over the top of the other one. So it's just going to go down along the bottom there. It's going to sit just under the other line, so it'll sort of be a little bit straight, but not particularly worried about it being straight or not. And then just cutting off the excess as per normal. So I'll go back to that. I'm just making a mess, and I'm just sort of just gently patting it to see if it's dry, which it feels like it is. So I'm just going to grab my eraser and then just on the corner here to see if that's going to make any damage to the stamps, which it doesn't look like it is. So I'm just gently rubbing off. There's a little bit of blending going on there, but not a lot. Smudging, not blending. So I'm just being really gentle with it. I'm not worried too much if you can see the line. And then I'm just grabbing a pen. So I'm just going to grab, I think I want to do it lighter. I'm going to grab my light grey sort of pen and just kind of draw in the string a little bit along the line, on like the top of the streamers, so that they kind of look like they're attached. Kind of gives it a shadow look too, which I really like. All I'm going to do is just cut this out like roughly, not, oh hold on, no I don't. Oh, that was lucky. Don't want to cut that out because I want it to cover up the November. Damn it, I don't like that. Why don't I like that? I know I want to cover up the November, but for some reason I'm really not liking how that's come out. I did a kind of a tester. I'll grab the other one that I did and I'll show you. So I just did this one before, and I think maybe I've gone too complicated with it, which is why it doesn't look as good this time. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this little bit of sticker. I'm just worried that that's going to feel too thick. So all I'm going to do is just grab the edge off. Just see how that feels. Could obviously use like whiteout if you wanted to. I just feel like that's going to be too obvious that I've covered it up. Whereas if you did the whole bit, it doesn't look as obvious, if that makes sense. You know what? I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to go around it. So I'm going to fast forward, or not even fast forward, I'm going to skip to the end of this. So you've seen me stamp it on. I'm going to do the same stamping process all along the top on both sides, and I'm going to be back in just a minute. Okay, so that's what it looks like once I've finished doing all of that. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I think it could have looked better. I still think my tester one here looked a little bit better, but we're just going to go with it now. So next thing I'm going to do is grab one of the quote cards. So I'm going to grab this one here that says add a little confetti to every day. Actually, before I do that, I am going to use that. But before we get to that, I'm grabbing the stickers because I want to cover up all of the days of the week and the numbers. So I'm just grabbing that sheet out of here. It's here somewhere. There it is. So it's going to cover all of these up. I love that now Sammy gives you 2. So depending on how you want to do this, I'm going to put my Monday at the top. Now you could put the number that corresponds like right there, like in the thing. I think what I want to do, oh no, I definitely will put it there. Okay, we're going to have an issue. I can feel it coming. So I'm just really carefully pulling that off. It's still going to do a bit of damage, but that's okay. So I'm going to put, I'm going to find somewhere for the Monday to sit. I'm just going to put the 6 down so I don't lose it. So the problem is that the Monday doesn't cover up exactly. So what I'm going to do is just kind of get over it. Just cover it up a little bit and just kind of deal with it, because I think if I try and do too much, it's going to look silly. So I just put a little bit too much tape there, but because I can rub away the excess, it'll be fine. And then we'll put the 6 there as well. There we go. Hopefully, along the way, we can find little ways to get around this. So I'm just thinking of little ways to get around this. All right, here we go. Here's a suggestion. So I'm going to pull that Monday off again. I'm going to do some more damage, but that's okay. We've rescued our Monday and our 6. What we're going to do instead is we're going to cover the Monday up. I'm just going to put that one. I don't know why. I just feel like I need to. We're going to cover up the Monday. I'm going to cover it up with a bit of paper. So I'm going to grab. Oops, I'm losing my stamp in here. Just having a look at the different papers in here, just deciding which one I want to use. That one's a bit too busy. That one's plainer. I think I'll use this one. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer. I'm going to grab my Monday sticker and clean it up because I've made a bit of a mess. And I'm just going to really quickly run it through my sticker maker just to give it back a bit of its stick. If I can get it to go through, because it probably doesn't want to. It's all curled up. No, it's not. So I'll just grab this bit of paper. I was using it to mask before, so it will be fine. Oops. Just trying to keep it away from that ink, just in case any of it's still a bit damp. I'm going to stick down my Monday just on the sheet of paper. And I'm going to stick down my Tuesday as well, which thankfully is not quite as damaged. I'm going to do the same thing with Wednesday and Thursday, etc. along the top here. Just leaving a little bit of gap in case I decide I want to turn these into flags instead of just sort of just the names. And then on this next one I'm just leaving an even bigger gap just in case. Okay, so the numbers are all stuck down. So now I'm just going to put this through the trimmer. I'm just giving it a little bit of room. Can always cut closer afterwards if I decide I want to. It's probably too much now. So I'm just going to grab the Monday. See how wide I need. Okay, don't actually need that much more room to it, so I think what I'll do is I'm going to cut it out and preserve the sort of shape of it, but just give it a bit more around the outside, which should solve my problem. I hope. Please, I hope. So I'll put that there. That now covers it up. Hooray! So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of these out and stick them down, and I'll be back in just a sec. Alrighty, so now we have our days and numbers on. We need to make ourselves a little flipper. I would be using, I feel like I use my flippers a lot, yes, but sometimes I feel like I kind of, during non-footy season, I kind of neglect them a little bit. So what I'm going to do is grab that quote card that I had my hands on before, and I want to mount this so that this beautiful paper is on the back, so that's good that I'm not wasting that whole bit of paper just to put that on there. So I'm going to stick it down first and then just cut out around it. But before I do that, I just want to grab the little tags, these ones here. And I'm just going to make myself, I'll just make a little tab on it so it sits out a little bit further. So I'm just grabbing the paper that matches the other side. I'm not so worried about it matching the confetti one. Put it back afterwards. So with these, what I like to do is I grab hold of my little mini ruler and my folding tool, or my scoring tool, and just give it a quick run down the edge so that I know that my line is right. Go. And then you can do this one of two ways. Either you can stick it down sort of first and have it sticking, hold on, let me get my words right. You can either have it so it's sandwiched between them so you can't see the paper on the other side, or you can have it sitting like this so you can see it. I like it better when it sits underneath, so I'm just going to glue this down first. A bit of a rub. And then just having a look at what I've got. I want it to sit on this side. I want it to sit there. So you just measure where that puts your little tab. And then we'll stick it down here first. So again, just making sure that's in the right spot before we do anything. And I'll put a little bit of glue tape down the side. I just find it's easier to do on the page because that way you can really judge where it's going to sit. Just put that where you want it. I just like to hold it in place with my scoring tool. That way I can kind of wiggle it around and you can place the card on top. So it'll sit nicely just there. And then we're just going to cover the back with that paper. So I always find the easiest way is just to stick it down and then cut out around it, which may be harder now because I've put that on that side. But anyway, never mind, Ryan's smarter than I am. He's just worked it out. See, this is why you should be doing planner pages, Ryan. And just grab out the paper trimmer and trim off the excess. Now this next part is completely up to you. You don't have to do it. I just feel like it gives a little bit more. I'm just going to round the corners off. And then on the back of that one, I'm just going to chuck one of these to-do stickers. I'm just going to go with the red one just because it matches, but I want to get the big one. This one's a square anyway, so that's brilliant. So I'm going to put that down this side. And grab one of the stickers in the red that says to do. And I just want to grab something to put in the corner. I'm actually going to grab out of the die cuts just want to grab one of the quotes from this. No, I won't, because I've got a quote on the other side. I don't want a pie. Whoops. I'm going to drop one. I'll pick up in a minute. Definitely don't want the oven. I'm going to grab this girl with the balloon. No, I'm not. She's too big. Do I have a smaller one of her? I have. Okay, I'm going to grab this sticker. So then we just need to write in all of these details. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I am going to add one other little extra thing. So on the day before Melbourne Cup Day, Ryan's not here. He's going to Toowoomba for work, but I have the day off because it's the day before Melbourne Cup Day. And so what I want to do is just add number one to hide those little bits, because I've kind of left some ink there from the stamps. So I kind of want to cover it up, but then just to have a little sort of to-do box. I'm just going to grab this little sticker here that says odds and ends, and I'm just going to make it into a flag. So then I can write in all the other details. So I'm going to do it in, I'm actually going to do it in pale green. If I can find one. How green there? Too green. Use this tealy green. Yeah, there we go. Also, just really quickly going to grab out of the little sticker kit the little one that says day off, and just put that on here as well. Over here, we've got two awesome things happening next Sunday. So the first thing, which deserves a big thing of balloons, if I can find one. I'm just grabbing this one here with the star on it. I'm just going to put that just here in the middle. There just needs a couple of little decorative touches along the way. I really do want to put a die cut on here. I feel like it's missing something and I just don't know what, so I'm just grabbing something that doesn't really fit. I will say this, I love this collection, you guys know that I do, but I kind of feel like it's split two ways. There's the party part of it, and then there's the cooking part of it, and they go together, but they don't at the same time. It's a weird kind of thing, but I still love it. I do. Just kind of wish it had gone one way or the other. So I'm going to grab a couple of the kind of what they're called. I call them, I think they look like hibiscus flowers, but apparently they're supposed to be fireworks. So I'm just grabbing out a little bit of foam tape. I just want this to have a little bit of 3D-ness to it. I'm just grabbing a little bit and just cutting it in half. Just going to put one on each of the fireworks or hibiscus, whatever you want to call them. And there we have it. That is my week using the Life's a Party kit from Planners Anonymous. I do love this one. I do. It's just a little trying to cover too many different things off at the same time, which I think that when she focuses on one thing, or when the kits try to be one thing, they really are much better. I don't particularly like my streamers at the top. I think they'll grow on me as the week goes on, but overall I think it looks really cool. It just needs to grow on me. I really do like the 3D element here. So if you did like this one, please give it a thumbs up so that I know that you did. Let me know how you've been using this kit. I do love the numbers and the extra days of the week. I think it really adds something to it and gives it the ability to be used sort of more than once, which you really should be using these kits more than once. If you haven't already, make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss any of my videos. I do my decorations every single Monday, just in case you're new, and then I do other videos on Wednesdays and Fridays. So to make sure you don't miss any, hit that subscribe button, and if you want to be notified when they go up, there's a little alarm bell that you can press on there as well. So that will actually give you an email to let you know that my new videos have been posted. Don't forget you can still find me on any of my social media links there down below as well. Other than that, I hope you guys have an absolutely awesome day. I love you heaps, and I will talk to you soon. See you later.